Howdy folks, Darren Ray Fonso talking about workers' compensation or labor and industries as we call it here in the state of Washington, and how I've sought help from people and the members of my community and a lot of the people on the left, my political leaders and political groups on the left, to get the minimum federal standards for injured workers on the table. But apparently nobody seems to want, on the left at least, doesn't want to allow that to happen because everybody I've reached out to for help has shunned the injured workers' plight and the need for the minimum federal standards. They shun you and they shame you rather than help fight for what Senator Sanders has told the injured workers of America we need in order to stop a genocide and a war from being waged upon us. Today's topic comes to what it's going to be about my Snohomish Human Rights Commission and how I have reached out to their help for probably close to, I don't know, at least a good 3 years, if not more. I reached out to them. Even I wrote them when I went to jail the first time. I wrote these people and begged for their help for injured workers. They've kicked me off of their sites and everything. I'll go into detail about that. But first, I want to try and get a call and give them a chance to maybe rectify the situation and see if maybe they might want to try and help us. So let's try that first. I'm going to call the Snohomish Human Rights Commission, and we'll give it a chance here. Okay. 1-425-388-7308.
Human Resources, this is Sherry. How may I help you?
Yeah, is this the Human Rights Commission?
Yes, it is.
Hi, yeah, I have a question. I feel like my human rights and everybody else's human rights are being violated in the United States by our broken state work comp systems. And we have some solutions for that that Senator Sanders has told us, which is some minimum federal standards that need to be put on the table for us. Why our Human Rights Commission maybe isn't fighting for that or telling us about a war and a genocide that's being waged upon injured workers, ma'am?
Well, that would be the Washington State Human Rights Commission that would be doing that. The Snohomish County Human Rights Commission is an advisory board to the county council and the county executive. But for issues dealing with laws, those we actually refer to the Washington State Human Rights Commission.
Do you have their number?
I do. Give me just a moment and I'll get that for you. Their number is
So if a member of our community feels our rights are being violated, do we write to you guys? Because I've written to you guys a couple times and even emailed and put it on Facebook posts, but nobody seems to want to address the issue. Even Senator Marilyn Chase and Karen Chase, I believe, is on your chair, right? Is she still the chair?
Karen Chase is our chair, yes.
Yeah, I've reached out to her personally, and she's even emailed me back and forth about this issue. And see, that's why I'm kind of perplexed why we here in Washington State, it's been 3 years since Senator Sanders and the U.S. Department of Labor and OSHA told us we need these minimum federal standards, yet I have been fought against by Travis, and I feel this Human Rights Commission in Snohomish County has stood in my way, ma'am.
Oh, I apologize for that. I can't speak for the board members. I'm their liaison. But what I can do is recommend that you can send your concerns to county council.
The county council?
There are lawmakers for Snohomish County. And you can also send it to Executive Dave Summers.
Okay.
They're the ones that can implement laws and policies.
All right. And so the human rights, though, do they draw attention to people being harmed or our rights being violated at all so that people will make this an issue?
We're working on policies and procedures to do that, yes. At this exact juncture, usually it goes through the chair, and then those issues are spoke about, and then we try and find ways, or other organizations that are already working on maybe this particular issue.
Because see, I have my work comp case. My human, I was basically had a psychological warfare played out on me rather than taken care of as an injured worker, and I've got a pension now, and a case that proves all that. And a case just like that was done in Canada, and the guy, they declared it a human rights violation up there, but down here I'm finding that it's just kind of business as usual, ma'am.
I don't know the circumstances that you're talking about. I haven't seen any of the.
Yeah, that's kind of why I thought the Human Rights Commission is supposed to be educating about this type of issue. If we have human, because I've also know that we have found that one state has linked the opioid-related deaths to, 25% of them were traced back to work comp, ma'am. That's pretty amazing. And so we can't fight a war on opiates if we don't address the war on injured workers first, ma'am.
I totally agree with that.
Okay.
What I can do is if you want to send me a little bit of information, I can give you my email address.
Okay. I did actually email to you guys already, to the Snohomish County Commission people. Is that?
I haven't seen any.
I just did it this morning, so you might not have got it yet.
Oh, you did? Okay, I haven't gotten to that.
And also on your Facebook, on your community Facebook page, I've shared some instant messages with you guys there, and some videos that explain how this is a human rights violation, and even a Sanders video now, because Senator Sanders has some injured Amazon workers that are screaming out as well, living in their cars because they weren't taken care of, and now they're living in the parking lots as injured workers. So it's not a laughable thing, but it shows that our human rights across the nation are being violated, and it is due to what Sanders talked about here about needing, we're failing our injured workers, basically, is what NPR told us in 32 states, and so did OSHA and the U.S. Department of Labor, and I think we need to address that, and people need to talk about that, and yet nobody is.
Right. No, and I totally get that. Let me see. I'm trying to get it into my email box. Hold on just a second. Okay.
And I also sought help from Karin Chase's mother, Marilyn Chase, who basically led me along for about 1.5 years and acted like she wanted me help, had me dig up information for her. And then when it came, Senator Sanders wrote that letter and said we need minimum federal standards. I felt like, all the doors closed on me. And everybody turned their backs on me when we said we needed some minimal federal standards, because everybody fears some minimal federal oversight, because they're more worried about state work comp rates than we are the guy in Alabama only getting $35,000 for an arm and the guy in Georgia getting $750. We don't care about that inequality here. You see what I mean? And we need to, because it comes back to haunt us later down the road, because when they say, gee, we can pay $35,000 for an amputated arm in Alabama, we're going to send all the work down there if you don't, take more away from your injured workers in Washington State. So it comes back to haunt us in the long run, and it harms all our human rights in the long run, ma'am.
No, and I get what you're saying. I do.
Okay.
So what I can do is I can go ahead and read through your emails, but I'll give you the Washington State Human Rights Commission information. Sure,
I've already had contact with them too, ma'am. I've been doing this for 5 years now, and it's driven me insane. And this fact that the whole left community has shunned and basically shamed me adds more to my angst and my agitation already. That even though I'm pensioned out and I'm still on psych treatment, I have IOP treatment twice a week now still, that comes to my home over all this still. But it adds more to my agitation and adds insult to injury when my whole human rights apparatus in the states of Washington doesn't want to stand up and fight for the injured workers in Alabama or anywhere else, or the under 400 undocumented workers who in Washington State are also crying out for our help. They say they've been injured on the job too, so it's not just me.
Oh no, and I get what you're saying.
Sure. I have issues, so if the emails are a little blunt and a little loud, forgive me ahead of time.
Okay. So what I can do is I'll try and route it to both our executive and our council.
Okay.
Being that they're the ones that I know that they have some programs that are going in regards to the opioid epidemic here in Snohomish County, but not at the state level. We can only do county level. We can't do state level, but council can always take it to state if they want.
Sure, sure. Like, yeah, because I'm for the marijuana being legal for work comp injured workers, and we don't give it to them, but we can profitize off it and make money off it. So, anyways, but that's another story. But it all ties together. Yeah, we could be treating some of these people with medical marijuana instead of putting them on the cheaper opiates.
Correct. So, yeah, let me take a look at your emails, and I will route them to the appropriate people.
Okay.
And hopefully we can follow up with this here in about a month. Usually that's about how long it takes to circle things around here within the counties. So
sure. Okay.
I will follow up with you towards the end of October.
Okay.
To see if you've gotten any responses and see how I might be able to better help you.
Sounds great, ma'am.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Darren, and I look forward to speaking to you in about a month.
Okay, sounds great. You too. Bye-bye. Have a good day.
You too.
Okay. Well, that was that. I don't even see anybody listening, and it's just me. So that's my phone call with seeking help from them this time, and so that's a much better thing this time around. And I actually don't think I ever called them before. I tried to do everything through the email because I have feared using telephones after some people utilized phone calls they made and didn't produce the recording of that phone call, yet they entrapped me basically with some harassment charges that should not have been able to go through if they had produced the tape, but I had no choice but to take the poor man's plea, and that's a whole nother story. But anyways, so I had feared phones all this time for at least the last 5 years, because I don't like the way they twist everything around, and the next thing you know, they will try to throw you in jail, and then they don't even produce the recording for which they made all the exact accusations, which the recording would have proved otherwise. But anyway, so yeah, that's why I've been trying to reach out to this Human Rights Commission for a long time, and part of another reason I wanted to make this video today is that Senator Marilyn Chase, I've reached out to her for a long time, and as a lot of people know, she was trying to help me and to want me to gather information and all kinds of stuff. She was going to help me fight for the injured workers. Well, it ended up, it come to find out, Senator Sanders wrote a letter that said we needed these minimum federal standards. And as soon as that happened, it seemed like Marilyn Chase and even her daughter, who was trying to reach out and help, it was Karen Chase, all of a sudden they didn't want to do that. And then when I started calling out Senator Marilyn Chase and calling her out saying you're kind of two-faced at this point, Karen writes me back at one point and says, "Really, Darren? Really?" Well, yes, Karen, and let's talk about Karen Chase. She is a member, she is the chairperson of this Human Rights Commission, the same Human Rights Commission that Marilyn Chase did say I should become a part of at one point. She said, why don't you apply to go beyond that? But for why? So you could handle me and coax me and be in control and send me on some other direction, maybe to go fight for Medicare for all for folks? No. What we have is people pandering to the Chamber of Commerce rather than standing up for injured workers. And it almost, it's really egregious and getting, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's not cool when you reach out to your Democratic lawmakers, and then their daughter is also gearing up and raising up to be some kind of a lawmaker, and you seek out their help for human rights of injured workers being violated for almost 3 years now. And then back 3 years ago, Karen Chase was wanting to go. She started a GoFundMe account. Her and Mario Brown had GoFundMe accounts to go to see Senator Sanders in the DNC convention up against Hillary and all that. And I didn't have money, but I went ahead and put $5 behind Karen Chase because I couldn't afford it at the time. I was just couldn't afford this. I was dying. But I felt so much for those people because I thought they were the people that would stand up and be there for us. Yet that was not been the case and still has not been the case since then. And yet they still will not stand up and fight for Senator Bernie Sanders' minimum federal standards. Yet they sought Bernie Sanders' endorsement. And the Bernie-crats gave them the endorsement. This is from Tyler Vega, who I've also met at the Green Party meeting one time. No, what this is the whole poor people's movement, the left, not wanting to help us. This is egregious at this point. when we have some solutions. And the only people who seem to be standing in our way is people who all seem to be pandering to the Edmonds Chamber of Commerce. Edmonds Chamber of Commerce is a little city next over to Everett here. I live in Everett. They all live in Edmonds, basically. I reached out to them because the ones that lived in my community, Mike Sales, Rick Larson, and the entrenched Democrats, basically turned their backs on me. And they have no intent to fight for the injured workers of America here or the ones in Alabama, because they want to keep us pitted against one another so that the businessmen can make profits, and then some people can even exploit the injured workers, intently tell them no when they should be telling them yes, so they can all make monies off their sniffs and drids and their little professional careers, and their private equity hedge funds are making money through the bank. No, human rights are being violated, and it sounds like maybe this lady might be willing to help. I won't front her name out here yet. She's the only one who's ever acted like that, but she's very low on the totem pole. She's just answering the phone call. Car and Chase controls this apparatus of it. Marilyn Chase has got her and slotted into places. And when a man comes to both of you women screaming for help because he's been harmed and injured on the job, and then he shows you where other humans are being harmed and how it's adding to our inequality and our human rights human rights being violated, and this Car and Chase and Mama Chase. Oh, that's what we got to talk about. Luis, what is his name now? I can't get his name, but he used to be a representative. Luis was one of Marilyn Chase's friends, and I called out Luis because he wouldn't stand up for the injured farm workers. And I tried to call him out because he's saying he was all for farm workers when he was still running and every Facebook pages because he didn't want the truth about workers' comp being told. And what did Marilyn Chase tell me? Oh, if you talk about Louise like that, he's been a union member, he's been all this and all that, I'm going to cut you out of my pages. Well, a couple of months later, she did cut me out of her pages when Senator Sanders said we needed minimum federal standards, and I was sharing that there. And then she said I was reposting too much about injured workers. I'm sorry, man, when your human rights are being violated, you can't post too much. You seem to repost all you wanted at that time about the pipeline, which were both issues that needed to be addressed. But when you told me mine didn't need to be addressed as much, and it's a human rights violation, ma'am, then you have your nerve to sit up there and tell me I'm tired of it, Senator Marilyn Chase, and little Chase. And not Marco Elias, he's the other one. You're all in bed together even though you pretend that you're not. And Luis and his daughter. This other guy, anyway, he was a representative. His name is Luis. He's the admin for the Snohomish County Facebook page. Plus, he also has a job for the Democrats doing something else. Luis and his daughter run that Facebook page, and they closed me out of the human rights Facebook page. Then they even have a little blurb on there about how they're gonna kick people out, and they're gonna have this be like a control of the group so that the robots don't get in. Fuck you. It ain't so robots can't get in, it's so the truth can't be told. Louise, you don't run a human rights site and block people out. I don't care if it's shit you don't want to hear, just leave it there and go scroll past it. But you do not censor on a human rights Facebook page from people trying to be fucking heard. Senator Chase, Louise, Mr. Union Brother. I was a union shop steward too, and I'm here to tell you, my human rights were violated, you fucking whores. I'm tired of this shit. She better come back in a month from now with some adequate information that you're turning the table and standing up and fighting for our goddamn rights, or I will make sure every angered worker in this country, police officer, nurses, firemen, farm workers, construction workers, you name it, chefs, it don't make a damn what your goddamn job is. You are harming our human rights and allowing men to profit off that so that the state can fill its fucking coffers. Then you motherfuckers are the ones who need to be addressed here. Good day. Human rights are being violated. You need to address them now and stop harming us. Senator Marilyn Chase and your daughter. And this other guy, Louise, and her daughter, who runs the Human Rights Commission Facebook page. Don't block out injured workers trying to be heard. Have a good day. And thanks you to the brother that joined the group. You're rocking on, and keep fighting for him, brother. That's what I'm doing here too. I'm going to keep sharing the truth and keep telling how I have had an experience, and I'm going to tell the truth about that experience, and that's all I can do. And the more I tell the truth, the more it seems to make me crazy, but I don't care. I'm going to keep telling truth no matter what. Have a good day.